So let's talk about the biggest shift happening in AI right now. We're seeing this massive move away from models that know a little bit about everything and towards specialized AIs that know everything about one specific thing. It's a fascinating transformation, really, from generalist to specialist. I mean, it is just incredible how far AI has come and so quickly. Just look at this slide. It's like a family tree of large language models. In only a few years, we've had this explosion of powerful generalist tools. You've got OpenAI's ChatGPT, models from Meta, from Anthropic, all of them trained on these huge chunks of the internet, ready to write you a poem, spit out some code, or draft marketing copy at a moment's notice. And these models, they really seem to have an answer for everything, don't they? They feel limitless. But that's the key word, feel. The reality is actually a little different. So, that leads us to the crucial question. If they're so smart, where do they fall short? And that question right there brings us to our first section, because it turns out even the most powerful, all-knowing AI has a critical blind spot. And understanding what that is, well, that's the key to unlocking their real potential. Okay, now this is fascinating. Look at what's happening here. On the left, a user is asking ChatGPT about the Silicon Valley Bank collapse, which happened in March 2023. And the AI basically says, sorry, can't find anything about that. Maybe it's fictional. But then you look over on the right and you see the real-world headlines. That event absolutely happened. The AI just didn't know because its training data had a cutoff date. It was literally living in the past. And that right there is the core issue. A general LLM is kind of like a library with millions and millions of books, but the printing press stopped working a year ago, so its knowledge can get stale fast. But even more importantly, that public library is missing your private books. It has absolutely no access to your company's internal documents, your sensitive financial data, or your proprietary code. So how do we fix this? I mean, you can't just retrain these gigantic models every single day, right? That's not feasible. The answer isn't to make the generalist know more, it's to create a specialist. So let's explore how we can actually build a true AI expert. It really boils down to three fundamental paths to get there. First up, we have what's called external augmentation. Honestly, the best way to think of it is giving the AI an open book test, where you hand it the answers. The second path is prompt crafting, which is all about becoming a master at asking the right question in the right way. And then there's the third path, model fine-tuning. This is the most intensive of the three, where you're actually retraining a part of the AI's brain. All right, let's dig into that first one, the open book test. It's a technique called retrieval augmented generation, or just RAG for short. It's probably the most common and, in a lot of ways, the safest way to give an AI new, up-to-date knowledge without actually changing the model itself. Now, here's the crucial point about REG. It doesn't permanently teach the model new facts. Instead, every single time you ask a question, the system first goes out and finds relevant info from a source you've approved. Then it kinda staples that information to your question before sending the whole package to the AI. This diagram breaks it down perfectly. A user's question comes in. Then, a system, let's call it a domain knowledge extractor, but think of it like a super fast librarian, searches through your private data, maybe a company wiki or a database. It pulls out the most relevant snippets, combines them with your original question, and only then does it go to the LLM. So the AI gets to see the cheat sheet right along with the test question. And here's why this is such a huge deal, especially for businesses. With RAG, your sensitive, private data never gets absorbed into the model's brain. It stays secure, right where it belongs, in your own database. This is absolutely massive for things like GDPR compliance and for preventing the kind of data leaks that made companies like Apple and JP Morgan ban public AI tools for their employees. Okay, so our second path is built on a totally different idea. What if the knowledge is actually already inside the AI and you just need to know how to ask for it? Well, this is the art of advanced prompt crafting. You know, the simplest way to do it is with zero-shot prompting. You basically just tell the model what to do. But you get much better results with what's called few-shot prompting, where you don't just tell, you show it what you want. You give it a few examples of the task done correctly, and that guides it to a way more accurate answer. And you can see the difference clear as day on this slide. On the left, we just say, translate English to French, cheese equals. You know, the AI might get it, it might not. But look at the right. We give it 3 examples first: sea otter, peppermint, plush giraffe. Now, the AI understands the pattern. It sees the format you expect, and bam, it delivers a much better response for cheese. Now, an even more advanced technique is called chain of thought prompting, and this one is a real game changer. As you can see in this example, with a standard prompt, the model just rushes to an answer and gets it wrong. But when the prompt is tweaked to include these steps of the calculation, the model follows that pattern and it gets the answer right. In fact, sometimes just adding the simple phrase, "let's think step by step," to a prompt can dramatically improve an AI's ability to reason. Okay, now for our third and honestly most powerful path. Fine-tuning. This is where we go way beyond just asking better questions or giving it cheat sheets. Here, we are actually performing a little surgery on the AI's brain, teaching it new skills and knowledge at a really fundamental level. So what is fine-tuning? Well, it's a form of what's called transfer learning. You take a model that's already been pre-trained on a massive amount of general data, it's already graduated high school, and then you continue its education on a much smaller specialized data set. You're sending it to college to major in legal contracts or medical journals or your company's support tickets. The old school approach, on the left, is full fine-tuning, and this means creating a completely separate, massive new model for every single task, which, as you can imagine, is incredibly inefficient. But a newer, much smarter method on the right is called PEFT. Here, you keep that huge base model frozen, and you just train these tiny, task-specific adapters. It's like adding specialized plugins to a really powerful platform, instead of rebuilding the whole thing from scratch every time. And this table right here is what makes it all possible. Just look at the difference. Pre-training a model like GPT from scratch takes trillions of words and months of time on thousands of GPUs. It's a colossal undertaking. But supervised fine-tuning, that can be done in days with just a fraction of the data and hardware. This efficiency is what's letting so many organizations create their own custom AI experts. So you've got these three powerful techniques, but deciding which one to use isn't just a technical choice. It's a strategic one, and it comes with some very real-world trade-offs. It's time for a reality check. Before you build anything, you have to weigh these trade-offs. For instance, can your data leave your network and go to a third-party API, or does it have to stay on-premise? Do you need the total control and customization you get from an open-source model, or is an easier, off-the-shelf commercial API good enough? Then you've got the legal questions, like complying with data privacy laws like GDPR and HIPAA. And of course, there's the bottom line. What's your budget, and do you have the technical expertise in-house? You know, I absolutely love this analogy because it just brings the whole process together so neatly. You can think of an AI's development just like a person's education. It starts as an infant, an untrained model. Then it goes to high school, which is pre-training, where it learns all this general knowledge from the internet. After that, it goes to college. That's the fine-tuning stage, where it majors in a specific subject like medicine or law. And finally, it gets a job. It's deployed as an expert, like Google's MedPalm, an AI that's specialized in medicine. And the results of this kind of specialization, they're just staggering. MedPalm isn't just some helpful little assistant. It's performing on par with human medical professionals. It passed the US medical licensing exam with over 86% accuracy. This isn't just a small step up, it's a fundamental shift in what AI is capable of. So think about where we've gone. We started with a generalist AI that can write a funny limerick, and we ended with a specialist AI that can diagnose a disease. This evolution, from a jack of all trades to a true master of one, is the next great wave of AI, and it leaves all of us with a really critical question. In a future that's filled with these hyper-intelligent experts, how will we decide who to trust? And maybe more importantly, who gets to make that choice?